Yarr, and welcome to Good Games Spawn Point, me young mateys, the show for younger gamers by gamers. I'm Captain Hex, yarr.
I am Darren.
And I am Super Sneaky Dojo Master Ninja Bajo. In fact, you probably can't even see me here because I'm being so ninja.
I'm not sure you're that well hidden, Bajo. In fact, you both look rather spiffy.
Thanks, Darren. We're determined to figure out the age-old online debate of pirates versus ninjas. Who would win in a fight? I say pirates would, yarr.
Well, obviously it's ninjas. I mean, we're so stealthy. We've already won before you knew what's going on.
This disagreement has been around on the internet for about a decade, so I would be happy to give you my objective robot verdict by the end of the show.
Oh, well, thanks, Darren. That'd be great. Or we could start with Pirates Showdown.
Who wants to play with creaky pirates when you can have 4 ninjas in the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, Out of the Shadows?
Bajo, your stealthy skills are no match for a pirate's blunderbuss. Off to the news with ye. Walk the plank, yar.
Ninja Smoke Bomb! Oh, the news.
I'm not sure that was the most convincing start to Bajo's argument.
No. Bajo here with the news from around the world. Nintendo has announced yet another revision of the DS handheld, the 2DS. The 2DS will run both DS and 3DS games, but as the name suggests, games run on the system will only be displayed in 2D. The redesigned flat body forgoes the typical clamshell design of both the DS and the 3DS, but the main screen will be the same size as the original 3DS model. And in other news, a man in Oregon, USA has created this 5-acre Plants vs. Zombies maze in his cornfield. Meanwhile, a man in Japan has spent the last 11 years building this 17-ton diesel-powered robotic beetle dubbed Kabutom. Amazing. And that's all the news for this week. Should I smoke bomb or shouldn't I smoke bomb? Should I smoke bomb?
I'm going to bury these in a desert island with an X to mark the spot.
You do realise they're fake?
And like a silent shadow, I am back from the news.
All right then, prepare yourselves for some good old-fashioned ship-to-ship warfare with Pirates Showdown, yarr.
To say, Hex, with my ninja bias aside, that pirating music really got me in the mood for some scallywag shenanigans.
Affirmative.
Hey, Darren, you're meant to be neutral.
I'm sorry, but R is fun to say. R.
Yarr, affirmative. Pirates Showdown is a seafaring strategy game with a heavy focus on resource management. You get an income of gold per second, and you can use that gold to deploy pirate ships or to upgrade your towns and other structures.
Your main objective is to capture one of your opponent's main towns. To do so, you'll need to get ships right up next to their base and damage their town enough to claim it for your own. Of course, if your opponent gets the better of you and captures your town, you lose.
Send them to Davy Jones' locker. Dead men tell no tales.
The strategy comes in the management of your income against how forcefully you send your fleet to attack. Upgrades to towns increase your gold and put you in a strong position, but timing is crucial. If you spend money on the wrong thing at the wrong time, you can leave yourself shipless and therefore defenseless.
Likewise, if you spend all of your money on a full frontal assault that fails, you may not have beefed up your income enough to be able to afford defenses later in the mission. The tables can turn pretty quickly, and you should expect to fail a level a couple of times before passing it.
It does feel like there is a very particular way to complete missions, and the times that you fail are because you didn't follow some unseen script. But retrying missions to discover that winning method is still fun.
And maps are kept interesting by the strategic elements that lie between you and your opponent. Small villages can increase your income when captured, but more importantly, they'll slow down oncoming attackers who need to take out the town before moving on.
Yeah, I kind of felt bad for those guys. They're just pawns getting blasted from all angles. There are also turrets which can be beaten into submission and then captured. Once under your command, they can be upgraded and will work as an extra line of defense against the opposition.
All hands on deck.
Later in the game, you'll discover things like neutral ports. Capturing these will let you launch ships from further down the map for a close-range assault on the enemy. The designers have clearly distributed these elements to keep the levels interesting, ensure that every map offers a new challenge.
Yes, and I think they're able to be so precise with their strategy here because the ship movement is quite simple. Once you drop a ship in the water, it will make a beeline for the other side of the map, slowing only to deal with nuisances in its way.
Yeah, once you pull up anchors, you have zero control over the ships. This means that you'll need to have accurate placement if you plan on avoiding enemy fire, or getting the ship central enough between 2 points to capture both on a single run. It just really gets you thinking.
I would have liked to have seen more variation in the ship types. Perhaps some with stronger armor but less firepower, or some with strong firepower on the front but fewer cannons on the side, I don't know. Just something to make the ship-to-ship battles feel more varied. Perhaps they needed a few ninjas on board.
I think the pirates could handle themselves just fine, Bajo.
I feel like it's a missed opportunity not to have multiplayer in a strategy game like this. A quick pirate showdown against a friend would be the perfect way to settle small disputes.
I agree, but I think captains and scallywags alike will get a kick out of taking down the AI. I really enjoyed this. I'm giving it 8 out of 10.
I'm giving it 7.5 out of 10.
Oh, there's a rumbling in my lower receptacle.
Oh, what is it, D.A.R.R.E.N?
Oh, it's a rather large incoming data dump.
Oh, no!
Particular info, but hold on to your chair. Today's topic is gaming rivalries. Ever since the dawn of games, rivalries have been at the core of our favourite pastime. Perhaps the most famous rivalry is the console war itself, a hostile hardware battle which saw the fans of the classic Sega and Nintendo consoles arguing bitterly about which machine was the best. And naturally, it wasn't long before this rivalry shifted to the console's platforming mascots, Mario and Sonic. The masterful platforming design in the Super Mario Bros. Games gathered a legion of fans, while Sonic's unmatched speed and superior graphics also made him immensely popular. The rivalry between Sonic and Mario raged for decades before it culminated in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Sonic's appearance in this frantic fighting title gave the Hedgehog a chance to beat Mario at his own game. In the last few years, we've seen many games attempt to settle similar rivalries. Ryu's karate was pitched against Jin's mystical arts in Street Fighter vs. Tekken. And even unlikely showdowns between pot plants and the undead have played out in Plants vs. Zombies. But perhaps the most famous rivalry in current gaming has been waged in Angry Birds. There's something intensely satisfying about helping these ill-tempered birds teach those cheeky pigs a lesson. Even today's showdown between ninjas and pirates has been recreated in a handful of games. They've fought everywhere from the dodgeball court to touchscreen endless runners. While we all enjoy a good rivalry, it's even better when it has a happy ending. That's why I was so relieved to see Mario and Sonic put their long rivalry behind them to play together as friends at their Olympic Games. Data dump complete.
Well, thanks, D.A.R.R.E.N. I think that's put pirates versus ninjas into a bit of perspective for all of us.
Yar, but there be no happy ending to this fight. Come with me to the Ask Spawn Point desk.
I'll be there soon, Hex. I just have something to take care of first. Smoke bomb! Hi.
Hi.
Smoke bomb! All right, Hex. I have stealthily obtained the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game from the mailroom.
Huh, all right, well, it's time to get answering some questions. So let's start off with this one from Darren's Laser, which is in Darren City, South Australia. Darren has a whole city. Oh, this thing again. Hi, GGSP. I have 1 question for you. 1. Why did they named the second Xbox Xbox 360 and named the third one Xbox One? P.S. Bajo, do this. P.P.S. Hex, do this. PPPS. Darren and Goose do this. PPPPS. You guys rock. Peace out.
Well, Mr. Laser, there's a whole bunch of reasons why they chose those names. We guessed that they didn't want to call the second Xbox, which is the Xbox 360, the Xbox 2, because it was launching against the PlayStation 3, and they might have figured that people would think the PlayStation 3 was better just because they had a 3 in it and the Xbox had a 2. Although clearly that theory doesn't apply to the Xbox One against the PlayStation 4, because 1 is less than 4.
Oh, yeah. Well, with the second Xbox, they went with Xbox 360, which I think was a pretty good name. I mean, 360 degrees in geometry is like one full revolution, so it kind of symbolises a full revolution in gaming, like coming full circle. I like that.
As for the Xbox One, well, maybe they couldn't really call it the Xbox 3, since that sounds like a shortening of 360.
Yeah.
I think all numbers aside, the Xbox One name was less about number one and more about the fact they wanted it to be one, the one central device in your living room, one device to rule them all. I personally don't hate the name, but also think it's a little bit boring.
Well, what would you have called it?
I would have called it probably the X-Batman. Oh, or maybe the X-Bajo. No, the Bajo Box 9000. Fantastic name.
No one would buy something called the Bajo Box 9000. I mean,
would.
What does the 9000 stand for anyway?
Well, it's a huge number, so everyone would be like, 9,000, that's got to be the best. Oh, there's 9,000 things in it. Well, what would you call it?
Well, I liked a few of the rumoured names, like Xbox Infinite or Xbox Next. And we were calling it the Xbox 720 for ages as well, even if that was a bit silly.
Yeah, boring.
Well, I think those names are better than Bajo Box 9000.
Right.
Anyway, let's move on to this one from Matt in Melbourne, Victoria.
The Bajo Box Extreme 21 billions.
But that wouldn't even fit on a... I mean, every time you had
It's a small font.
What's the shortening
No,
of
because
that?
it would be massive. It would be the size of a house. Okay, first off, I love you guys, and would be even more epic if you responded. Are they still publishing games on the Nintendo Wii? I have one laying around at home not being used anymore. It seems as if Nintendo has abandoned it because it's really old. I'm just saying, is the Wii completely abandoned?
Well, no, Matt. The Wii hasn't been completely abandoned yet. There's still a few big games coming out for it, like FIFA 14, Skylanders Swap Force, and Just Dance 2014. Also, Disney Infinity just came out on Wii recently too, so it's still getting some big games.
Yeah, as for Nintendo themselves, well, they do seem to be entirely focused on the Wii U console now, which makes sense. All their upcoming games like Mario Kart 8, Zelda, and Super Smash Bros. Won't be coming out on the old Wii, so you'll need to upgrade to a Wii U or a 3DS if you want to play that version, or perhaps even the newly announced 2DS if you want to play those.
Yeah, but let's move on to this one from Darren's mum, who was in Darren's house in the Australian Capital Territory.
Probably hasn't cleaned his room.
Oh, I think Darren would be quite neat. Hey guys, I'm so excited for Disney Infinity and I hope to get it soon. I was wondering if they'll be expanding their character collection soon. If so, do you know if they'll be including Peter Pan? Thanks.
Well, Mrs. Exterminator of Noobs, they will indeed be expanding their character collection soon. First up is the Toy Story playset, which is due out in October, which will come with Buzz Lightyear and Jessie.
Around the same time, they'll also start releasing some more individual characters which won't have full playsets, but will come with shorter adventures, which will just be little single-player and co-op campaigns.
Sadly, Peter Pan wasn't among the characters announced, but we'd be surprised if he didn't get the Infinity treatment at some point. Oh, it's the phone! I've got a new way of answering the phone. Do you want to hear it, Hex?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right, that's all speaking.
It's Bajo here.
Hello, Bajo.
Hi.
I couldn't help but overhear you talking about Disney Infinity. I just wanted to let the Spallings know that I've uploaded my excellent Darren-themed level to the servers, so they can download and enjoy it themselves.
Oh, that's great, Darren. I'm sure they'll love that. What will they have to search for to find it?
Oh, just go into Toybox Share and type in GG Spawn Point into the search box, and it should appear right there.
Oh, okay.
Brilliant.
Well, thanks for that, Darren.
Thanks, Darren.
I bet the Spawlings will have a great time blowing up your statue. Bye!
Blowing it up.
All right, well, moving on to this one from Xenomorph374, who was in the roof of the Ask Good Game room.
Hi.
In Victoria. Oh.
Oh, the other Ask Good Game
It's
room
okay.
with our clones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello, GGSP. I really need help because I do. 1. Where can I find a game like Midnight Club Los Angeles? 2. Did you guys review Halo Custom Edition? 3. Can you give me a sneak peek of Need for Speed Rivals? 4. What was the game that had real crashing physics for PC? Thanks. You guys rock.
Well, Xenomorph, Midnight Club LA is a few years old now, so the easiest place to find it would be in the various online and digital stores. Just look through Games on Demand on Xbox or the PSN on PlayStation and you can get it right there without even having to leave your house.
Yeah, you might be able to find it in certain game stores here and there in the pre-owned section, so that might be another option as well.
And Halo Combat Evolved is a mature game, so we can't talk about it here, but yes, we did review the Anniversary Edition remake on our adult show over on ABC2 when it came out.
We can show you the new Need for Speed though. Here.
Finally, the game with real crashing physics is called BeamNG Drive. Can we get that text up on the screen? Yeah, just type that into the internets and you should find the website. Well, let's move on to this one, which is our lucky last question for today. It's from Princess Peach in Marioville, New South Wales. Hey Bajo and Hex, I haven't been gaming for a very long time and I would really like to know if there are any games similar to Mario Kart on the Xbox 360. I love your show. Hex, do these. Bye!
Hex, if you had a princess name, what would it be?
Well, I think I'd just go with my real name, Stephanie, because there actually is already a Princess Stephanie. She's the Princess of Monaco. And did you know the name Stephanie in Greek means crown?
Do you have a crown?
No, I don't have a crown. What would your princess name be?
Well, I would be Bajo Bron Trappington, 4th, the 5th King Princess Man. That's what I'd be.
That's very long.
It's very long, but I think...
It's very stately sounding.
Yeah, it's accurate. Well, Your Highness, there are a couple I can think of. First of all, probably the most Mario Kart-like game on 360 would be both Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, and its sequel, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing Transformed. Both are quality races, but we'd say if you can only afford one, then go with the Transformed one, because it's got boats and planes as well as karts.
Other than that, I'd say you might enjoy Blur. It has real cars and isn't as colourful as Mario Kart or Sonic, but it's definitely more like a kart racer with loads of weapons and power-ups. It's really cool.
Split-second velocity is great fun too. You don't get weapons, but you do get to blow up parts of the world. Other than that, there's F1 Race Stars, which isn't good.
No, that wasn't very good at all. All right, well, hopefully you enjoy those Princess Peach, but on that note, we're out of time for today, so back to the studio, Badge.
Okay, Hex.
And if you've got any questions, then you can send them in here.
Hex?
What's this?
It's a smoke bomb. Smoke bomb!
Still trying to get my sea legs.
All right, now it's time for us ninjas to show what we're made of. I love the Ninja Turtles. From the original animated series to the movies to the excellent new series, I just love them.
Interesting fact alert! Many games have their origins in comics, and there have been quite a few Ninja Turtle games now of mixed success. The original concept for the TMNT was designed as a bit of a joke in a brainstorming session. Fast ninjas don't quite work with slow turtles. But creators Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird developed it further, and with a loan from one of their uncles, they managed to publish one of the most successful independent comics of all time.
And the Turtles work so well for games. The original arcade Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game is considered by many to be one of the best arcade games ever made.
Yes, but that was ages ago and there hasn't really been a decent Turtles game since. So what we've all been wanting to know is, with its gritty new art style, is TMNT Out of the Shadows the great Turtles game we've all been waiting for? Spoiler alert, no it isn't, it's awful.
Yeah, something went horribly wrong with this game. Let's start with where it sits in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles universe.
All those who are not crying must cease stealing and destroying property that belongs not to them.
It seems to draw inspiration from a few sources. Enemies and ideas from the recent TV series, but it also has an animation and art style that's more reminiscent of the movies and comics. And I actually really like this art style, except for the terrible motion comic bits.
What I can't figure out is, that company belongs to those alien guys, right? The Krang.
Yeah, I liked it too. It's a bit weird and strange at first, but the models feel so solid. The enemies and monsters look good too, from Splinter to the Foot Soldiers. They all come from a solid art team who wanted to try something different.
And the locations and set pieces are all great too, from jumping across rooftops to this train level. On top of all of that, the ninja moves from the turtles look really good too, especially the finishes.
Indeed, but this is where things fall apart. The developers have tried to make a deep fighting system full of unique combos and counters, but none of it works very well. They've tried to make the turtles work as a team, sometimes using each other in a fight, and there's even a combo reward structure, where if you can chain attacks together without getting hit, you get to use a special move. But in the end, it just becomes an awkward mess of fighting, misfires, and confusion.
Oh, and it's such a shame because there's so much they got right here. I think you're absolutely right, Darren. They might have been a little bit overambitious. They tried to incorporate too many fighting game ideas into a 3D brawler, and it just feels like they didn't have the time to make it all work properly.
Yeah, those misfires are the worst. I was always ghosting and punching where there was no one there because of accidental button presses. And the reason why you do so much button mashing in this game is because the animations take too long to play out or return control to your character. So you just... I felt like half the time I was trying to get my character to do what I wanted it to do, and that's a bad sign.
Yeah, and the camera didn't help things either. It's just a bit too close, but mainly it doesn't track very well with your movements. This means you're constantly readjusting, and that's the last thing you want to be doing with all of these complicated combos to remember.
Affirmative. Too much game design and not enough quality assurance and testing. There is an arcade mode where the camera is fixed, and this is much less confusing. However, it only highlights the game's other problems.
I do like that you can move around the turtle's lair, upgrade some gear and train. There's also a fairly deep unlock system for each Ninja Turtle, and you can tell they thought hard about making them all have specific roles that make sense for their characters. Michelangelo is fast, Leonardo has leadership kind of skills, Raphael is tough, and Donatello's bow has a good range to it.
But at the end of the day, the gameplay just wasn't up to scratch.
I'd even go so far as to say the code isn't up to scratch. Many animations didn't sync up, even when playing offline, so it can't be blamed on lag. And we also encountered bugs that made us have to restart a few times.
There also doesn't seem to be any level direction. Often I'd be left wondering where to go and only find it by accident, even after restarting in familiar places. There are a few visual color-coded clues, but they're just not enough to pull you along. I do like the free running ideas, how the turtles leap and jump on everything, but you also don't feel like you have any control, and once again the camera just makes it a total mess.
I was so disappointed by this, guys. There's just so much here that could have been great, and I want this game, but I want it to work, so I have to give this 2 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Yeah, and it did tick so many boxes, from the voice acting to the ideas behind the combat, and the music is awesome, but boy, they got so much wrong with this as well, so I'm giving it 3.
Now, Darren, these scores won't affect your Pirates vs. Ninja judgment at the end of the episode, will they?
I consider it evidence, Bajo.
All right, smoke bomb.
What? No!
That won't distract me, Bajo!
All right, guys, I think I'm all ninja'd out.
Yes, and I've R'd my last R, I think. All right, Darren, it's time to process everything you've seen on today's show and give us your final verdict. Which is better, pirates or ninjas?
Affirmative. Processing.
Remember, Darren, ninjas look awesome in black.
Processing.
Yes, and pirates have really cool tri-cornered hats.
Processing. Analysis complete. After sifting through all the available data, I have come to the only possible verdict.
Yes?
And?
The winner is... robots!
Oh.
Without a decent laser, your pirates and ninjas are totally inferior.
Darren, that is not what we asked you to do.
You know what, though? I think deep down I always knew he was going to say that. Hey, why don't we let the spawnlings decide?
That's a great idea, Hex. Why don't you head over to our website here and you can vote. Who do you think is the best, pirates or ninjas?
Next week on the show, Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 Remix.
We also look at the mass hero action of the wonderful 101.
Until next time, may all your games be full of gold! Hex out!
Bajo out.
Darren out.
Guys, would you mind if I do one more smoke bomb?
Oh, no, you can do
Just
it.
one more?
Careful, you might set off my smoke alarm.
Oh, okay. Just a little one.
Oh, that was really little. Yeah. That was kind of a baby smoke bomb. It just covered your feet.